Welcome back to From ID to Brand, the series where we are building a complete startup from scratch. Over these 8 episodes, you're watching us take a concept and transform it into a pitch-ready brand and product. We are basically covering everything a founder needs to know in order to go from an idea to a product and eventually raise some money. And look, thanks to AI, it's now easier than ever to start a company and raise money. But you still need the right knowledge, the right tools, and the right framework. That's what this series is, your complete blueprint. We want you to build the next $1 million brands. In the last episode, we validated our digital nomad platform ID, Rishav did the market research, analyzed competitors like Nomad List and Selena, identified pain points from Reddit and reviews, and confirmed there is a real demand for an all-in-one, community-first solution. We found a large growing market with clear pain points and especially a willingness to pay. So the verdict, the idea is worth building. Now comes a critical step, turn that research into a brand strategy. This is where most founders get stuck. They have a validated idea, so they are excited to name the company, design the logo, but they skip the strategic foundation. And that's why their brand feels generic, their messaging doesn't resonate clearly to their target audience, and investors cannot understand what makes them different. Today we are walking you through our complete brand strategy framework. We are defining the mission, the vision, the target audience, the positioning, and the brand personality. This is the blueprint that will guide every design decision that we make from here forward. By the end of this episode, we'll have a complete clarity on what this brand stands for and who it serves. And you'll know how to do the same for your dream company. And now, let's dive in. Okay, before Rishav talks about our complete framework, I want to talk about why this step is so important and also why most founders skip it. The temptation every founder faces is this one. You have an idea, you're very excited, and you want to see it come to life as soon as possible. You want a logo, you want colors, you want to start building basically. But here's what we've learned at Klime Studio after working with dozens of founders. Without strategy, you're just making aesthetic choices based on your personal preferences, that's all. You're designing things that look pretty, okay, but don't convert, so the brand feels empty. Strategy is the why behind every design decision. It's your compass. It creates consistency and makes sense. And honestly, it's also what makes you fundable. So today we are building 4 key things. Mission and vision, basically your purpose and where you're going. Target audience, who you serve and who is your ideal clients. Value proposition and positioning, what makes you different. And brand personality and tone, how you communicate. This becomes your North Star. Every decision from here traces back to this. Now, enough talking, Rishav is going to walk you through our complete framework, so let me hand it over to him.
Thanks, Adrian. Alright, so the first thing we need to define is mission and vision. What we do and why we exist. Framework I use most of the time is like what we serve, what we provide, and why it matters. And let me show you how we build this. And if you want this exact template I'm using, you can find the link below for free. So let's start. So who we serve, that is the first question we want to answer. So for us, it's more towards remote workers and digital nomads. So we will go with that. Remote workers, what we provide. So what are we trying to help? So we are trying to help why it matters. So for me, these are the few things. So who we serve is remote workers. What we provide is connected community and quality co-living spaces. Why it matters? To combat isolation and simplify the logistic of location-independent work. So like when you are traveling around, you have a lot of stuff in place. Like if you want to travel abroad, it's a lot to do. So our mission becomes is like to join. If we join them together, it's like, so if I feel like if we use if we combine all of them, so take remote workers and digital nomads from here, connected communities from here, and to combat isolation. So that's what I figured out. Of course, it's more like just showcasing your ideas. And if I took some help with AI to refine my sentences because I'm not the best copywriter, so that way AI can help me get some of the skills which I don't have right now. And it gave me particularly, okay, this is what I got. So let me just copy paste. Much easier. We help digital nomads find their people and their place wherever they roam. This is really easier to understand than this. Like logistic digital nomads, it's not any buzzword, it's simple. We help you find your people and your pace wherever you roam. That's clear, actionable, and not corporate fluff, as I said. So, and this is like really great for a daily user or daily person who is like looking around on web. So next is our vision statement. What is vision statement? This is where we talk about where we are planning to go, what the success looks like in next 3 to 5 years. So let's do it for our idea, and that will be mostly, so basically we want to be the like community where we are go-to person. Like if you are a digital nomad, let's say you're watching this video and you will be like, Rishabh, I want to join this community. And why? Because we will help you find a good place, a good like a good connection, a community where you can go roam around, and as you are a remote worker, so you can build connections, you can work wherever you want, like you will have some fun. So if we refine it again, taking help with AI, this is what I get. Okay, I copy something like this. To become the global community platform where every digital nomads find belonging in quality spaces, making location independent work sustainable and fulfilling. This is our vision statement that we want to achieve in next 3 to 5 years. And if we like combine our completed mission and vision, this is what we are getting. So we want combined mission plus vision. Okay, we want plus. So there we go. So mission guides what we do today, and vision inspires where we are going. So both create alignment for the team and attract investors.
Okay, let me pause here for a second, because this is where a lot of founders roll their eyes. Mission and vision statements can feel like corporate buzzwords, right? But here's why they matter, and I mean really matter. When you're building a startup, you're going to face 1,000 decisions. What features to build first, what partnership to pursue, how to spend your limited budgets. And without a clear mission, every decision becomes a debate. But when you have a mission that says, in our case, we combat isolation for digital nomads, suddenly decisions become obvious. Does this feature help combat isolation? Yes, let's build it. No? Then we don't do it. That's all. And for investors, it's even better, because they are not investing into your product, they are investing into your vision. They want to know where you are going and why it matters. So please don't skip this step. Don't treat it like a formality. This is your foundation. Alright, now let's move on to define who we are building this product for.
We validated our target audience in our last episode. So, and what are they? Like aged between 25 to 40. Those are people who are like freelancer and remote workers. But we need to go way more deeper than that. And that's where we are going to create audience avatar, like a detailed profile of our ideal customer. So the basic stuff is like so far we have digital nomads, 25 to 48, freelancers and remote workers. But if we deep dive into demographics, like what are their education, what they like actually do as a job, what is their age, what is their location, what is their income, and in terms of physiographics, values, fears, goals, behaviors, those are kind of stuff. So let me just pull like the information from here and put them. So I want to create a character whose name is, we will figure out a name later. So let's start with age. So I filled up the basic information which I feel like should be in the ideal customer or like ideal profile of the audience, target audience. So let's go towards physiographics. Look, what are their values? So this is where it is going to be interesting. We basically have both the data now, like demographics and physiographics. Let's talk about the pain points. Some of them we talked in the first episode. It's more towards like feeling lonely in a new city, difficulty finding quality and reliable housing. It's nightmare. And struggling to build connections with people because you are constantly moving. And logistics are overwhelming 100%. Like if you have to get the visa, then you might have to like fill up any like random tax informations, Wi-Fi quality, safety concerns. So there's like a bunch of things happening. And what they have like current solution is like they have Airbnb for housing and Facebook groups for community, Reddit threads for city accommodations, trial and error approach. Like mostly if I'm traveling to any other place, I'll look for people around. And why these don't work? fragmented, time consuming, and inconsistent quality, and not verified. And one very secret tip I'll give you, it's not secret, it's really helpful. Don't trust people you find on Facebook. They might not be the best person. So I'll suggest know people or talk to people in Facebook whom you know or you have connections with. So yeah, let's move ahead with building the user persona, because it's more now, we have more about the person, about the pain points and the solution, so we can build up a user persona. And if you're like curious to know what is a user persona, it's basically a fictional character we create for our target user. So this is like a target user which we are creating in a fictional world. So if you see, I'm creating a image of the character, like the persona which we have created. For now it was like I just added a sticker of me, but yeah, let's create a character. And you can do it too. So if you head over to this and search for make an image, you should get this option, and you can use Nano Banana or like a lot of other models. Image. Let's talk about so there's few things which we need to do, like develop the story and then quick summary of what we actually did. I'm gonna use a bit of AI right now, because that way it will help us get a lot of context here. Sounds good. So we have a female character, but yeah, it's totally fine. Irrespective of that, let's create a male. So alright, we have a picture of male too. Let's start with our story development. So I used a bit of AI, and this is what it gave me. And I kinda low-key like it, because like it's saying that for 2 years I've been nomading, like love the freedom, tired of feeling like starting from zero again and again, and Facebook groups random are like really exhausting. So sometimes it works, sometimes it like you end up lonely in a beautiful place. So yeah, let's do this in terms of quick summary of persona. Let's do that. So why do we actually need Alex like story, or why do we need this whole thing like user persona? We need that because we want to build it for someone. So when you are creating a fictional character, it's mostly because you want to work on the features, you want to work on your product, and you want to find your customers. And the best way is to like create a persona, and now you can cater everything around them. So will he like the next feature? Will he like to pay for this software? Will he like have advantage with using our apps rather than any other else? This is how you like create a brand that resonates with people.
So now we have Alex. I know this might seem like an exercise, but this is where brand strategy becomes powerful. Because from this point forward, every decision we make, we are making it for Alex. When we choose colors for the brand, we are asking ourselves, would Alex feel drawn to this? When we are writing the copy of the website, we are using Alex language. When we design the features of the product, we are solving Alex problems. Most founders try to appeal to everyone, and when you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. Your brand feels generic and your messaging is vague. But when you know exactly who you are serving, when you can picture them, understand their fears, speak their language, that's when your brand starts to resonate. Think about Nike, for example. They are not selling to anyone. They are selling people who see themselves as athletes. Just Do It speaks directly to that mindset. That's when people say, this brand gets me. And that's also how they convert and they stay loyal to the brand. Alright, now let's talk about what makes us different.
As we now have user persona of Alex, we will define the value proposition. And for that, I use a framework, and that is target audience plus problem we solve plus unique solution plus key benefit. Right? These are the 4 things which I combine and create like few sentences, which helps me get to a complete sentence which works as our value proposition. So let's work on that. So I'll create like 2-3 variations on that, like what kind of sentences we can use. So I'll go with something which is much descriptive. So I'll just write stuff which is about my target audience, about what I'm trying to solve, and what is the unique thing which I'm solving, and the key benefit. And then once I have like a short paragraph on what I'm trying to achieve, then I can position myself by decreasing the word count and just doing the impact with less words. So let's do this. So this is the paragraph which I came up with, which talks about our value proposition. And if you see, this is how it breaks down if we look closer. So this is our target audience, and this is the problem we are trying to solve. Let's stick to till end part. And logistic we provide, from here it is talking about the unique solution we provide. And now at the end it is talking about, so you can focus like what is the key benefit. So this is how you can break down a sentence which is about your value proposition. And like, we don't want to go this big, so let's try to reduce the words. Let's try some options. So I'll try just one sentence, and that's it. Like, explain the whole thing in one sentence. So let's try that. So I came up with 3 options which we can use, but I feel like if I go this, it is too short. If I go with this, it's too long. So let's go with this one. And now like we will take this and map out our like market positioning. So let's do that. So if we talk about competitive positioning, it's simple. Now we have the graph. We want to position our competitors and see where they stand. So we'll start with Airbnb, and with red I'm presenting that Airbnb is more towards logistic focused more, and it's in between budget and premium because you can get both options there. Outside, like that is more towards co-living network in terms of it is best a bit like living in terms of logistic focus, but it is also premium, so we'll put that here. And if we talk about remote here, so it is like premium and like it helps you organize programs and fixed schedule, so we will say it's more towards this side. And next is Selena, like logistic focus, mid-range, so co-living and co-working. So, and if we talk about finally the nomad list, is more towards community focused and budget friendly. So now I have like added the colors which I'm trying to represent. So for red, Airbnb; for yellow, it's outside; for orange, it's remote here. So I have tried that. Now when we are talking about where do we fit, so our positioning is more towards community first, mid-range and all-in-one. So we are not just housing like Airbnb, or we are not just community like nomad list. We are the bridge between both of them. So how we do that? And the best way to find out is like what we are not. So I'll try by putting down note on what we are not. I feel like this is the best way to represent what we are not. And now we have some clarity on what we are not. So let's do what we are, like what we represent. This will make like it should be easier more now because you understand what you are not. So this is what we are and this is what we are not. And for the best part is like when you define this as better as possible, you will get answers of what you are mostly. So let's like create the position statement now. So what we do here, like create a one sentence of learning about what we do, what we are not, and about value proposition. So let's do that. This is what I feel like should be like one sentence, and this will help us guide what we want to do forward, and this is our like unique angle in the market.
Okay, so we just defined our positioning, and this is another critical step. Look, in any market, there are competitors. And if you try to compete on the same terms as everyone else, you're just fighting for scraps. You're competing on prices, features, on who can shout the louder, basically. But when you position yourself uniquely, when you own a specific space in the market, you stop competing and start dominating that space. For our digital nomad platform, we are not trying to be Airbnb. We don't want to be nomad list as well. We're trying to be the bridge between those two. We are trying to solve a problem that nobody else is solving this way. And that's what investors look for. They don't want Airbnb for X or Uber for Y. They want to know what unique position do you own in the market. Why will customers choose you over everyone else? That's what we just defined. And now let's talk about how the brand should feel.
Next is brand personality and tone. So let's start with that. So how I usually do is by using this slider. You have seen this quite often if people are doing branding. And for me, I stick with just 5 minutes. So just don't spend a lot of time. Just figure out where you stand. I'll use a circle. Like you can use the circle to move the sliders. So let's figure out that where we at. So in terms of professional and casual, where do we land? I'd say approachable, professional. We are like knowledgeable and reliable, but not too stuffy. So I'll stay here because we don't want to go too casual too. And for bold and subtle, we are confident but not loud. So we stand out, but we are not screaming for attention. So we should be, again, let's log this. We should be here in the middle. Next is innovative and traditional. So definitely modern and fresh is something which I'll go for, but we embrace the new ways as we embrace like new ways of working and living. So we will go here. And final is playful and serious. We are warm and human, so we take our mission like it's very serious, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. So we will stay here. So based on the slider, let's define traits of the ideal person. First will be like authentic, number one. So yeah, like I can write bunch of them, but you just have to nail down and come up with like just 4 or 5. So you can actually focus on stuff because you don't want to create something which is for everyone, because when you create for everyone, you're creating for no one. So let's start with tone and voice guidelines. So difference between tone and voice is like consistent personality, and tone is it adapts to context. So you can find this. So to build the guidelines, we will talk about 2 things again: what we are and what we are not. So let's do that. What we are warm and helpful. So this is what I came up with, like what we are not, what we are. So let's try examples of how it helps us in terms of phrases. So let's say if I want to say, so this is what we want to like convey, that okay, use our product and you will get these kind of benefits. But we don't want to be someone who's very corporate, like talking in that lingo. So we will refine it as per our guidelines. So let's try. I basically picked it up from above. If you have remember, like I just thought about the same sentence here, and that's what I feel like would be very easier here right now, because we just want to go with one sentence. So let's create more examples like this. So let's say we want to talk about our community and how it can help in terms of networking. But this again sounds like a bit odd. So how we can refine it? So we can say stay in a place. This way it feels like, okay, he's talking about that kind of person or that kind of place where you will feel seen, feel heard, and you will not be taken as a stranger. So these are like 2 examples. We can do a bunch of them, but let's do much better examples, like in terms of how we will use this in a real life scenario. So this is like very basic sentences. Let's do it with website samples. And what I mean by that is how we will use the header and how we can use like welcome email. Let's, for example, how will you send this? So when I know now that I need to be not too professional, I need to have the balance between casual and that. So I'll say something like, hey. So I feel like if we talk about this, hey Alex, welcome to the tribe. We are so glad you are here. This sounds a bit fun. It sounds like, okay, it's talking about a company, but at the same time it is fun, it is casual, it's not too corporate. Let's try one more. Let's say I want to create a social media post. So if we talk about how we can create a caption, so I'll say like new city, same struggle, finding your people, we build this for you. So this way it is more towards, okay, you are again facing the same issue, but we can help you. So this is like some of the examples in terms of how we will use the whole tone and personality guidelines, like voice.
We just defined our brand, personality and tone. And here's why this matters more than you think. People don't remember features. They don't remember specs. They remember how you made them feel. Think about the brands you love, like Apple, Airbnb, Nike. You remember them because they have a distinct personality. They communicate in a way that feels human, consistent and authentic. And that's what we just created. We wrote examples of how we talk. We created guidelines so that whether it's an email, a social post, post or an error message, it feels like the same brand. This is especially important for startups because you're competing against bigger, more established players. So you cannot outspend them, but you can out-personality them. When your brand has a clear, authentic personality, people will connect with it. They will remember it and they will choose it. And that's what we've built today. Now let's bring it all together.
Now we have built most of the stuff which we required for this part, and now I'll just summarize few of the stuff. So I'll talk about mission, vision, what we have basically achieved right so far is mission, our vision, our target audience, our value proposition, our positioning, our personality traits and tone. I'll quickly fill up. So now I have added all the details which we have achieved so far, and this will definitely help us because this is the blueprint which we will be using for our branding.
Alright, so that's our complete brand strategy, and look at what we have now. We went from validation research in episode 1 to complete strategy clarity today. We know who we serve, what makes us different, and how we should communicate. This is the foundation. And here's what I want you to understand as a founder. This clarity is what separates founded startup from failed ones. Investors don't want to see just a pretty logo. They want to see strategic thinking. Now, next week is where things get really visual. We are taking all this strategic research work and turning it into a complete visual identity for our brand. We'll walk you through how to name the company, logo design process, color palette development, typography system, everything. And you'll see exactly how the strategy we built today guides every design decision. But before we get there, if you are a founder working on your own brand strategy, I've put together the whole document with all the resources we used in this video. So if you want to grab the document, just click on the first link in the video description. And look, if you want help, not only with the strategy work, but with the complete brand build from strategy to design to launch, book a call with me by clicking on the second link of the video description. Alright, next week, visual identity. And in the meantime, let's keep building.